Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for another workout. And today was Max Effort Benchpress Day. And I felt like today, even though I've run the chains down, I feel like my bench hasn't really increased. I feel like I need more muscle, and so I didn't try a normal barbell bench. So if people are saying, are you trying to hide the fact that you don't think it's increased? Nope, I'm just telling you flat out. I don't think I would get more than a 5 pound increase right now. If I were to test it right now, I think my PR would be at best 5 pounds. There's no need for me to test that because I know that's the case. So I'm going to rotate through and keep doing different max effort stuff. And on the next cycle through, I will make sure that I train everything hard enough to get a good PR. So I'm going to rotate my 3 bars with chains and get good at all 3 of these bars. I want to establish a baseline raw with each bar, kind of see how they feel. And then I'm going to rotate through that same cycle, and maybe in about 12 weeks, I'm going to come in, hopefully by the end of the year, and smash a decent bench PR. Okay? I have a lot of work to do to get there. Now, I chose my football bar today, and I chose the wider grip because this is kind of what I want to see where it's at. And this is interesting. I feel like this is going to be a really valuable tool. I know I need more meat on my pecs and my triceps. I know that. You know, the bench press is one of those lifts that is very dependent upon muscle mass, particularly for a long arm guy like me. I'm never going to have leverages. I have to just straight up muscle my way through it, work on my technique, work on my speed, all those things. But I have to get bigger. My upper body needs to get more jacked, and mainly specific muscles. And I know that my pecs and my triceps need to be bigger for me to get a good bench, like a really respectable bench. So 315 with this bar felt challenging. Did I feel like it was an all-out max? No, but notice it slowed near the top. I know that I'm over 90%, right? I know I'm over 90%. That gives me a baseline. So I'm going to work these others until I know that my secondary exercises that are testers put me to the point to where I know my bench is increased. And when I know I can increase my bench at least 10 pounds, I'll test it. But that's the beauty of this system of the different max effort exercises. As long as you're pushing maximally, you're still getting a training effect of a max through different angles. And what? You know where you're at. I don't think it's PR'd. Now, I knew my squat was. That's why I did my squat. I knew for a fact my squat had PR'd a lot. I knew my box squat was going to be a minimum of a 30-pound PR or a 40-pound PR. It ended up being a 62-pound PR. But I knew that based upon my other exercises. I knew that based upon my other max effort work, where it was going to be. I know based on my bench, best case, I was getting a 5-pound PR. So we'll come back and we'll hit it when I know it's good. And I can base it off these other lifts, and I have a lot of work to do. Floor press is right here. Need more volume on the floor press. Today I did 8, then 7, 7, and then 6. Now I did 4x6 with this weight last week. So we're getting more volume in. I need to keep increasing the volume on this. Again, I felt it deep in my chest. I'm using a wider grip. Actually, my ring finger is on the rings. Normally I keep my pinkies inside the rings. I need the wider grip. I need that extra chest activation. And for me, that is ultra wide. I don't normally bench that wide. I can feel the difference. I know that area is a weak link for me. I know that if I can improve that, my bench will increase. So I need to work those things, but I need to do them in a way that's not going to cause me inflammation in my tendons and stuff like that. So that's why I'm going to mess with the floor press a lot. It's easier to recover from. Forces me to use a lighter weight for the same level of muscle activation for any given number of reps. So floor pressing. I'm going to do a lot of floor press, a lot of tricep work, a lot of speed benching. Working the overhead press back in, which I'm doing on my dynamic days with the football bar. But yeah, floor press. And I need to get more and more of training volume in with the floor press. This will give me more of the pec I need, particularly out of the very bottom. And then all the tricep work to help with the top. So my bench has got a long way to go. I'm going to put a lot of effort into it because the squat has really come back. My squat's doing really good. My squat right now is probably the strongest it's ever been since I've been on YouTube. Not lifetime, but since coming to YouTube. I have a feeling that if I walked in and tested a true back squat or spent a couple weeks getting it down instead of just the box squat, it would be heavier than anything I've hit on camera. And multiple other lifters and power lifters have already looked at that yesterday, and they realized that. They realized that. It's pretty obvious. My benching needs a lot of work. And we need to build all the musculature more. All right? I have a long way to go. So let's put in the work. Floor presses. The pull-ups, because again, I hadn't been doing pull-ups. Working this other back angle. Now, the rows are going to be more of my back volume than pull-ups. But these neutral grip pull-ups will help build up some of the muscles I need. It's hitting a different angle, one of the basic functions. So I did 4 sets. And you know what? These neutral grip ones, since I'm doing the full range of motion, I know I'm not doing them weighted right now, but you know what? I'm just going to focus on some volume, get the hypertrophy in. So 4 sets of 8 with body weight, which is not enormous, but you guys consider I weigh 218. It's 32 reps at 218. It's a decent amount of workload. It's a good amount of workload. I felt it. It was challenging. So, good stuff. Giving me the desired result, working those muscles. We're going to put more work in on rows than we are, though, on pull-ups. But we will get strong at pull-ups again, and if I have to, I'll even do some heavy pull-ups, kind of like I talked about in that Omar Issoff video. If I really want the pull-up strength to go up, I can always throw in a heavy single once a week and then do the volume. You can always do that. But right now, I just need all the additional back hypertrophy, bicep hypertrophy. All right, we need all of it, even though the rows are going to work the back a little more specific to my benching. This is a good exercise too, and then we're keeping it varied because I'm focusing on them on a different day. But it works, and we need to work this angle. We need to be strong at every angle. We need a vertical and a horizontal pull. It's just not a bad idea for overall strength balance, even if I put more volume into the other one. Then I did these. I put way too much chain on. I didn't realize it at first that I've been using, I guess, a single set of chains because I wanted to add some extra plates. And because it felt way too light with just the chains last time, even though the bar is 45 pounds. I started with way too many. I did a heavy double, and I'm like, that's all I can do. I took a chain off each side. And that's like 34 pounds of chains was removed, because that's what I have on there. Like each of those before the lead chains. Throw the lead chains on, and we're talking about, like over 40 pounds of chains with the lead chains added. Because it's 21 pounds, 21 and a half pounds a side. So 43 pounds of chains plus 65 pounds of bar weight. And that made for some good sets of 10. I did 5 sets of 10 on this, and I'll show you guys the 2 camera angles. And some people have said, hey, why are you doing it that way? Why are you using the chains? Because the bottom is where you get a little bit of elbow tendonitis, and the lockout is a little easier, so I want to load it up heavier. So by creating that accommodating strength curve, by having about 30 pounds difference between the top and the bottom, I can make sure that I'm not inflaming that area, that part of the range of motion with extra weight where it can cause a little bit of tendonitis around the elbow. And then I'm making the triceps work harder in an area that wouldn't be worked quite as hard because it's normally easier there. It's easier to lift the weight because of the angles involved. So by adding the chains, I am making it harder near the top, which again, we start talking about bench press lockout, creating a strength curve that works for my weaknesses as far as where I need more tricep on the bench, right? Because you guys always notice even when I use a straight weight, I slow near the top of the bench. It's always a little bit slower. And it doesn't mean it's a sticking point, but I'm certainly slower there, and we want to make sure it doesn't become one. So we're always going to be worried about making sure my triceps can follow through. All right, we still need to work at bottom position benching because that's always the raw bencher's main focus. That first few inches off the chest needs to always be a serious consideration. But for a secondary thing like the triceps, I need to make sure my triceps can lock it hard. I need them to be able to follow through. And this gives me a good combination of that, of working that extra lockout strength as well as just being an all-around tricep builder that's working all 3 heads, right? All 3 heads of my tricep are being worked completely with that little bit of emphasis on the joint angle specificity of locking it hard, which I need for that last 6 inches on the bench. I just need to make sure that it pops right there. So again, being specific in what tricep movements I pick, because I also do a different tricep extension on speed day, but that's a good one to use on the max bench day. You know, it's 6 sets in, pretty good stuff. Then we did chain laterals, and I started out way too light. I grabbed those light chains, I didn't realize how light they were, and I got to like 15 reps. But I just kept going because I started the set, the camera was on. So I added weight and did 10 to 12 for failure on the next 4. So basically 5 sets to failure for my side delts, which is enough because again, I'm not hitting them directly on my other upper body day. I'm doing all that overhead pressing. So I need to make sure my side delts are getting enough work, total work, because I still do face pulls, which also does hit the side delts a lot based on EMGs, but EMGs are not the be all end all. We know that. They're useful tools, but I wouldn't take that to the bank that face pulls with bands are the only thing you'd ever need for side delts, even though they light that area up. On an EMG, biomechanically, I don't think that's fully the case. You want big round delts, you're going to have to do some side laterals. Now, am I doing these necessarily to increase my bench much? Probably not. It might add a little more stability. Realistically, I'm a YouTuber, and as I get leaner, I need bigger delts. I'm competing with the fake natty crowd, and when I lose more body fat later, I better have round delts. Round delts and better abs, all that stuff. It's just necessary. It doesn't take much time out of my day, and it still helps stack my upper body. And you know what? At the end of the day, if I can add an extra ounce of muscle to each delt, it's probably going to help my bench press, at the very least with some shoulder stability. But people need to remember, notice that I do these very specifically with the thumbs up and a little bit of a forward lean. This is how we avoid damaging the shoulder joint. It's how we avoid damaging the shoulder joint. But workout was pretty good. Got a good baseline on the football bar because I knew I wouldn't be able to hit a PR on my bench. It wasn't going to be where I want it to be. And I will test it when I know it's going to be up, because there's no point in trying a PR and missing it. We don't want that on this system. So I'll test it when I know that it's ready. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.